How you doing?
Starting the vlog?
Well, tell them what's going on.
Well, today we're going to be cleaning out the car because it got dirty and dusty from
being at the paint shop.
My poor seats.
It's not so bad. It just needs a good wipe down and vacuuming and stuff.
Yeah. We started to put little pieces on the car that we got painted. All that stuff over there.
Yep. A whole box of crap. Oh, we'll be able to put your side room mirrors and stuff on. That'll be nice.
That will be nice.
So welcome back to another episode of Project Bombshell. Today, as you can see, we've already moved the car outside. We're gonna do like a nice deep cleaning on the interior to get it all clean again. Probably pull the seats so we can actually clean them a little bit easier. And then once we've done that, we'll probably start to put like the computer, harness, battery stuff back into the engine bay, so that we can kind of key on and, you know, pop the trunk and things like that when we need to get in and out of all that stuff, because we do want to start putting some of the exterior back together so it looks cool in the meantime. Not all of it, but we are going to put some things back on. Like, we'll probably do the back bumper. I think I want to leave the front for now. I might even honestly pull the front fenders off the car when we're doing all the engine stuff so that it keeps them protected. But yeah, just going to be some fun put the car back together type stuff. Stay tuned for a better look at the exterior this time, a little bit more complete, a little bit more exciting. I know you're excited to see it all put together. So yeah. We'll probably put the spoiler on, side view mirrors, and like rear bumper. So we did have one issue where you can see those little pre-drilled holes for the license plate bracket. We actually wanted to fill those in so that the front bumper was nice and smooth in the front, because we're not going to put that license plate bracket on the front. We might do like a stone show type bracket, just something that you know, you can pull off when you go to car shows. So we do have to take that front bumper back to paint so that we can kind of, you know, correct that minor issue. Where the cowl panels go in here, there's still like a bunch of crap down in the crevices, so I do want to go in and actually like hose that down a little bit so that when we put the cowl panel covers on, that is like, you know, nice and clean and not terrible. So just some good cleanup stuff, and then putting everything together and starting to see it really come together. And man, the paint color on this thing is freaking sweet. I hope that the camera can kind of capture it a little bit. It's got to give you at least some of the effect. But man, you got to just see it in person. Muy sad. I hate to pull the fenders off such a pretty car right now, but I'll show you exactly why I'm doing all this in just a second. If you guys remember and watched the paint video I showed you, or at least the prep video, so these door harnesses were all cut up and whatnot, and then what they did was they just like spliced everything back together, just kind of hacked it up. We got fresh harnesses, so that's the before, and then in here you can see this is some kind of bracket, and I think it's actually for the back middle of the fender for support, but it was cut off for some reason. There's nothing I can do about that. I didn't find, you know, and weld in new pieces. Just wouldn't be very clean even if we did. So let me go ahead and finish pulling this out. So now we have access to, like, you know, the harness to replug it all back together. I don't know why they ran it the way they did, but they did. So maybe somebody knows why they did that. If it was like fiberglass doors or something, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Got me. And then this is our new fresh finished setup. So OEM harnesses, not spliced, chopped all up, plugged back into the body harness right here. And then to cover up that hole, I've just got a little bit of sound deadening, and I, rolled that on to just kind of seal it up, keep that all nice and closed up so that no further damage can occur. I just felt like it was important to kind of share that with you guys so you kind of understand like the amount of detail that we're trying to go to when restoring this car, so that it's really like properly done. I mean, I've never done anything to this extent before, so like maybe it's not to some of you guys' likings, but as far as it goes, I feel like this is the best way to handle a lot of the stuff and is going to really just keep it nice in the long run that way. But outside of that, damn, that engine bay looks nice, bro.
We got the seats cleaned up, got the interior cleaned up in here. Hard to see because it's dark. Got the interior all wiped and vacuumed. Kind of got the seats put back in place for right now. They're not bolted down or anything, they're just placed in there. Brian's working on the door, switching the harnesses. So we got the battery and harness hooked up here so we put the windows up so I can finish putting the door handles on there tomorrow. Got the car moved back in. It's like 12:30 now.
Okay, it's the next day. I am back at it. We're going to be, I just cleaned up all the rubber grommets for the firewall, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in and hopefully seal everything up and get this car waterproofed again. Alright, as you can see, the engine bay is starting to come together pretty good. We're going to put the brake booster back in, a couple other little things. Put the wiper motor back in place. But I'm pausing on all that because just talked to the powder coater, so I've got to get the last brake caliper off the car, the one that we left on so that we had an e-brake when moving the car around in a lot of different places. But now that it's here, we don't need to worry about that so much. So I'm gonna jack the car up, pull this caliper off, I'm gonna run to the powder coater and get the brakes with them so that they can look pretty soon too. All right, I threw some wheel chocks down behind and in front of the front left wheel. Now, shouldn't move if we get it jacked up. Out, we can now run to the powder coater to get it dropped off. We're just having a local guy do it. His name is Billy Gibson, Gibson Racing, I think LLC. You guys can check him out on Facebook. If you're in the Southern Maryland area, he does really good work. He did my calipers and I highly recommend him. So now that the caliper's off, I did take a little bit of time and get the trunk all cleaned up, and the sub is now mounted, plugged in, everything like that is good to go. Melissa's back from the store, so we're going to head out to the powder coater. Ice cream on a day like today is choice. This is where we come to powder coat. It's a random building at somebody's house that I'm not going to show. But he does great work. So with that, back to the house. All right, it's way later. We got dinner and stuff and treated ourselves a little bit because it's been a busy weekend. So we realized that we could actually throw the bumper on, so we're gonna put some of the cool stuff on, like the unicorn. How jelly are you guys right now?
It came with the car.
That's right.
We could sell this and make back what we paid for the car.
That's a little excessive. Sorry, I love you, but I'm gonna do this one.
Nope, I completely understand. I was gonna tell you I'm not doing it.
It's one of those things.
You've done it before.
Yeah. There's nothing hard about it, it's just like stupid. clips are kind of fragile. License plate lights, they just slide and clip in. Oh, then with those in, this last little piece clips in. Hey, now we have our finished license round area. Looking minty. Did also throw those side markers in real quick. These are actually the eBay ones, so we'll see how they work. But from what I've seen, they look pretty good actually. Outside edge and that's it. Alright, so against my better judgment, I did throw the fenders back on because we hung the front bumper too, so it kind of gave like a mock-up of what the front end's actually going to look like. And it's definitely looking pretty nice. Obviously nothing's lined up, it's all just kind of hanging there, but I did that so Melissa can kind of get an idea of what it would look like. From here, I'm going to actually pull these fenders back off and put them back in the storage room until they're ready to go on, but we're going to start working on the spoiler here. And so we've got our little black pieces. Each of these needs 3M on the back of them so that they can stick to this. And I have the other couple pieces right over here. So I'm gonna slowly but surely put this thing together, which you'll see now. Alright, so spoilers back together. I have these like little, I don't even know what you call them, but it's like foam padding of some sort. I picked it up at like Home Depot at one point. I put these underneath the spoiler, between the spoiler and the trunk. The intent with these is just to offer that little bit of extra weather sealing. Typically like the factory has like a shit ton of 3M, and I'm not a big fan of it because if the spoiler ever has to come on and off, like it just makes it way more difficult. And I used these on mine a couple years ago now, and it seems to work great. So we're gonna do the same thing with Melissa's car. Oh. So I've got to do a little bit more trimming on my little weather seal things, and then those will be good to go. Spoiler's in place. I fixed the weather stripping in a few places, and now we are just going to bolt it all down. Stop. Dang, son, this rear end's coming together good. Carpet is back in. I still gotta figure out what to do about the carpet in this area because I don't even really know how it comes normally with the shaker. So I'm gonna figure that out and then we'll do something about that. Diffuser's just chilling, but damn, son. We have a deck lid to still go on, but this is your general look. Sick. All right, with that, I'm gonna call it a night. We'll pick this back up at some point later. All right, guys, so we got another fun little cosmetic mod that we're gonna be doing to the car next. It's the Fred's Parts War Remover. You can find it on CJ Pony Parts. It's basically the same idea as the RTR deck lid, but it has these rolled edges so that it actually covers the outside edges of the deck lid so that it covers up all of the paint area. Because if you've got a bright color car, the RTR deck lid's great, but like it doesn't roll over those edges. They can kind of stick out sometimes, especially on something like this. So with my car being dark gray, I have the RTR deck lid, but you'd never know that like it doesn't cover those edges because of the dark color. So it works great on like a black or dark gray car, but in my opinion, when you've got a bright color car like the blue, the red, white, any of that kind of stuff, you definitely want to do something like the Fred's Parts Wart Remover because that'll really cover up all those edges. So from that, we're going to go ahead and start working on installing all of the little pieces of tape that cover up each of these holes for the original deck lid. You can see I've already got one here, and we're just going to go ahead and put it all on the car and put the deck lid on. They don't provide this, but I happen to have this from doing the Dynamat in the trunk, which is just like a roller, so I think that'll kind of help really seal it all up. What the heck, dude? I got gypped. There's only 5 and I have 6 holes left. Luckily I did all that sound editing stuff in the trunk, so I literally already had some of this stuff laying around. Not exactly the same, but it should serve the same purpose. Since this is the Fred's Parts Wart Remover, I applied a ton of extra 3M, so it had the outside edge here, and then these 2 strips, but that was it. So I've heard that sometimes the corners can come up just from heat and I guess sun or whatever, so I applied like a double layer around the outside edge, and then in the middle I threw 2 thick pieces as well because they had nothing to support the middle area. So hopefully that keeps it super sturdy and from removing at all. So Melissa's going to peel all the red tape off, and then I'm going to wipe the surfaces to get them prepared. First step first, alcohol pad so that we can kind of clean up any potential grease or dirt or dust or anything that might be on the surface. Alright, next up we're going to use some adhesion promoter. This is just like, kind of like a liquid glue of some sort, like a sponge I guess. And we're just going to focus and apply this to the areas that the 3M mounts to. It's pretty much all of the outside edge. Get one shot, one up, 2. So I figured I'd tell you guys about this real quick, what I'm doing. When the AC and stuff kind of gets like moldy and whatnot, especially with sitting for a long time, I put the car on and I put the fan on high for circulating in the upper and lower vents. And then what I do is I come down here with the spray, pull the cabin air filter out, just kind of go to town, spraying that in there because that'll kind of circulate it through the system and clean up any potential nastiness that may still be in the AC vents. I already, wiped as best I could through all of the ducts and everything with just like a microfiber in my hand. I can only reach so far though, so there's probably still some dust in, but that'll also get blown out when you turn the AC on high like that. And once I've done that and let it sit for a couple minutes while it circulates, I'll put the fresh cabin air filter in and we'll be done. Alright, since we got our cabin air filter cleaned, refreshed, we can now put the cowl panels back on. But before I do that, I do want to give the window a quick wipe kind of down up in this seal area because that's not something you would normally be able to get to. So I figure I'll give the windshield a nice good cleaning on the outside before putting it together. And these will be getting a nice glass parency coating at some point as well. I've still got a kit left, so I'm going to do that for this once we get to that point. But for now, we're just obviously not worried about protecting until we're done putting the car back together. not how glass would sound. That's what you get for having it sit for so long. Luckily, most of the stuff's a pretty easy fix with a good detail. All right, windshield's all clean. Can't really see, obviously, from that angle, but we got these cowl panels that are gonna go back in, and I just wanna give a shout out to Adams Polishes because, like, these things were nothing like this when we got them. So I cleaned them up, gave them a nice, you know, prep, and then we did the ceramic trim coating, and man, these things look so good. We actually did the trim coating to pretty much all the exterior trim on the car. That's why the rear end looks so clean, because we did restoration on all of these pieces. The valance, the surround, the spoiler, underside, and the rest of them was all sitting in here in the box, and that's gonna slowly but surely go back on the car. We even did like the mirrors. Dude, the mirrors are so clean looking. Big ups on Adams Polishes for that ceramic trim, restore, and coating. All right, so these things just pop in place. I do have the wiper motor back in place and plugged in, so that's all good to go. So now we can go ahead and seal this all up. Scared the fucking shit out of me, dude. Alright, fenders are off. Now we can kind of pop these suckers back in place. No fenders or wipers right now, but damn, dude, that looks sick. Cleaning up so nice. Alright, so to get the wiper blades back on, like the arms, we actually have to take the hood off, so we'll hold off on that for now, but I think so far we are definitely looking good in terms of reassembly. So at this point, I'm gonna shift focus back to the doors and trying to get the door handles in place. Alright, took the time to move the car outside, and I'm working on the door handles now, but I figured I'd kind of give you guys an idea of what all goes on with that. And to do it right, you gotta really actually pull the glass out. So we already did that. Melissa helped me get the glass out. She was cleaning it. And what I did was I just took the window and moved it up just however much to get easy access to these right here, because it's bolt through glass. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and work on starting to install the door handles. First things first, there's like this little bracket that goes on this piece. And that's basically to create a weather seal and give something on the inside that you can bolt up to. So you just slide it through and then it clips in just like that. And then we are going to feed it into the door here. This one's a little bit messed up, probably from, you know, prior assembly or disassembly or whatever. But just like that. And then there's like a little guide pin that goes in, and that just kind of holds it in place, and then we're going to move into the inside and start bolting things together. You can kind of see everything through there. So that's the front of the door handle, and then that's the back of the door handle. So that's slid through, and then there's a little bolt that holds it in place. So now that I have that in there, I'm going to tighten that down, and then I will show you everything else. We're going to go ahead and start working on attaching the lever thing. So this basically loops into the door handle where like it does its movement and then clips into the latch thing over here. So you take the arm, push it up through that hole, pull it through, and then swing it downward. And then from there, that red clip there, this gets clipped into that. And the last thing we're going to do is bolt this last part of the door handle together. This is the front piece. We just have this bolt that goes into the little bracket that's on the outside of the door. With that last piece bolted in, we're going to give this door a real quick test, make sure that the handles are working properly. Let's go! That's what the glass looks like when you get a normal tint job on it.
location is gonna be Big Booty Judy.
Alright, and like that, the door panel's on. There's a bunch of bolts that go around the outside edges. We're gonna tighten those down. That's pretty much it. A couple little things get clipped into place, nothing fancy. Alright, so I figured I'd show you the only difference on the driver's side real quick. It's with that little lock mechanism for the key. You can see that in there. It's a little bit behind the thing, but that thing there goes on the inside, and then you like twist it into place and then bolt it down with the regular bolt, just like the other side. And then from there is this special bar, and then that's gonna connect the key mechanism to the door latch so that it unlatches when you turn the key. All right, so all the arms are now in place, and that's how that one is oriented. So you need to slide it into this lower piece first, and then you kind of rotate it and clip it into the locking mechanism on the door. So now we'll have working doors. Bam. And then let's grab the keys and test the lock mechanism here. Keys in. There we go, lock, unlock. All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish putting the door panel back together, and you know, the speaker and all that good stuff, just like you saw on the other side, but it's a rinse and repeat type situation. Door's done, car's back in the garage. Obviously it's nighttime now, but as you can see, everything looks really good. Panels are back on. Car's already looking 1,000 times better. I have to go to paint on Wednesday. I'm gonna drop off the front bumper, the side scoops, because there was a little bit of like at the edges where the paint didn't quite go over, so you would see like fade and like black coming through if we don't finish those rolled edges. And then same thing on the spoiler, I noticed there is like a slight line where the paint didn't quite cover, so I've got to take those couple pieces of the paint. We'll get those fixed up on Wednesday, but I think that's probably going to do it for this video. We've already done a ton, and I apologize if it's a little on the long side, but as you're well aware, there's lots to go into the full restoration of this car. So where do we go from here, right? With this more or less wrapped up in terms of the exterior, now we're going to kind of start focusing on the foundation of the car. I've got to do the K-member swap, all the front suspension that needs to get swapped out. A little bit of touch up on the underside of the car. There's like some surface rust stuff I want to clean up, throw some paint on, make sure it's nice, good, and sealed on the bottom of the floor plan where there was that one weld spot, as well as kind of wrapping up a little bit of wiring harness stuff. I did get a new transmission, like starter harness, whatever that's called. We're gonna refresh that just because there was some stuff I saw on the old one that I was like, you know what? It's cheap insurance to make sure that we get like a good one, that there's no issues, no wiring problems, because of whatever may have been done in the past. So that'll be the focus next time, kind of laying the foundation for the car. And then after that, we'll start moving into putting the motor in place. Going from there, like the transmission, drive line. We do have to do some stuff on the rear end still, so that's got some work that's got to get done. Lots left to do, but we've made a ton of great progress so far. So we're gonna touch base with Melissa and we'll wrap up this video. Take a peek. It looks like a car in there.
I know, well, this half.
Yeah.
With the seat.
We'll get the other seat in there shortly.
It sounds good when it closes. It sounds like satisfying.
I know. Sounds proper. It looks so good with all the trim because we did all that coating and everything.
I know, it looks like
really good.
new.
I'm excited to get the last of the stuff around the door, get it all sealed up. Alright guys, so I think that's going to do it for this video. I'm definitely happy with the progress we've made so far. Are you happy with everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, seems to be coming together nicely. A lot more real now.
Yeah.
Definitely make sure to check out the Instagrams down below, mine and Melissa's, for more up-to-date content, because this stuff's a little behind when you see it. Sorry. Hit the like button if you guys are enjoying this rebuild series. I know that it's going to be a little of a lengthy one, but I think it's pretty cool what we've been able to do so far and how it's going to wrap up when it's all said and done.
Really
So
turning it around.
oh yeah. This car's never been normal. Something we were acknowledging recently. Like, it's never had a normal life. From one interesting one-off build to another.
Yeah.
Definitely subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here and you enjoy this kind of content. We try to keep it exciting with lots of things like this. So
Lots of things like that.
I recently blew out third gear on my transmission and I'm waiting for a stage 3 build.
Because race car.
Because race car. All right, guys, like I said, that's going to do it. So peace out. We will catch you in the next one.